So today I wanted to look at 10 things that non-American people find very nice about American people. Like, it makes us go, oh, like these are quite nice things that you do that we enjoy, like your little aliens, and it's just fun for us to look at you, but aliens that we like. Before I get into today's video, your Irish curse for the day is that if you don't subscribe or like or comment on the video, there's a chance that the next time you put on socks, you're gonna put your foot down on the ground and it's gonna get wet. You're gonna have wet socks and nobody wants wet socks, so, you know, subscribe or like or comment. It's your choice. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. You can explore new skills, develop existing interests, and get lost in creativity. As you guys know, I've been a Skillshare user for a really long time, and over Christmas, somebody in my family was asking me something very basic about YouTube analytics, and I did not have the answer, and I really should have had the answer. So I figured it was time to take another Skillshare course to learn this thing that I really should have known in the first place. I took Marcus Brownlee's course on YouTube success. Marcus is a huge YouTube content creator. He showed me how to understand my analytic graphs and also that I should think about having a little channel intro, which is something that I'm thinking about. You can also get the support of other people who are into the thing that you're into in the Skillshare community, which is very cool. It's definitely one of those things that you need to try for yourself, so Skillshare have given me a link for the first 1,000 people to click on it. In my description box below, you can click on it and get a free trial to Skillshare Premium and see for yourself. Thank you, Skillshare, for supporting this channel on not just one level, but many other levels too. On with the video. Okay, so the first thing that Americans do that non-American people think is pretty cool is baby showers. Baby showers are starting to catch on a little tiny bit outside of America now, but they're definitely not the norm. I have never attended a baby shower, but I actually think it's a really good idea because there's definitely a superstition in parts of Europe that it's bad luck to buy stuff for the baby before they're born, so this would give you a good way of like having access to things like nappies and I don't know what do babies need, I don't know, baby stuff, things that babies need. It would let you do that without like breaking the tradition of like not buying stuff yourself if you're superstitious. Also, a lot of my friends who have been pregnant find that time really hard, so it's just a cool idea to have yourself surrounded by people who love you, possibly in a social distancing way right now, but yeah. The next thing that Americans do that I think is pretty cool is you guys have very short resumes. In Ireland and also in Spain, I've seen they have quite long resumes, like 3 pages long, and we call them CVs. When you're writing your CV, you have to make it really detailed, like go into your qualifications and the things you did at your last position and all this kind of thing. So it is not uncommon for your CV to run 3, maybe even 6 pages long, but for some reason I think the shorter one is better because it's just kind of like your key points and it summarizes, and then if you go in for the interview they can ask you more. I definitely think that's a better idea. Like for me, shorter has always been better. I struggled big time in school to make things long. Like I am a concise person. I like to sum up things. Moving on, the next thing that we think is kind of interesting is that you guys get married very young in America, and it kind of ties in with that whole high school sweetheart thing. You'll find it very rare that people in Ireland or in Spain or elsewhere will get married that young. Like you guys get engaged in high school or college, and that's just kind of wild. I don't know anybody who got engaged that young in my life at all. Also, a big bonus on it is like any high school TV shows that you watch makes your investment in the relationships in that show much higher because the stakes are higher because they're potentially going to get married and have babies even though they're just in school. But you wouldn't even think that about a guy you dated in school in Ireland, like at all. God, I wonder where my school boyfriend is now. Hi, you didn't exist. As a consequence of that though, your divorce rate is a lot higher, so that would be kind of the negative side of it, but we're just gonna move on to the next point. The next thing that we find pretty adorable is when you guys make an effort to do our slang terms. Like, it's super cute. Like, we take your slang terms on board and we say words like awesome and dude, American words. I couldn't think of good examples. You know we say your American words though. But when I hear Americans saying Irish words like, it's deadly, or it's great crack, I don't know, that's just like, aw, that's cute. I appreciate it on the level, like, you know when your parents try to say something and like it's a little cringe, but it's also cute because it's like, it's a cool word. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's very adorable. The next thing that I really like that Americans do, and I wish we had this feeling in Europe, is that you guys really embrace weirdness. Like, you love people who are diverse and different and quirky, and you like that, whereas it's not really that encouraged in Ireland and Spain. You're kind of looked at as a bit of an oddball. People are definitely becoming more open-minded in Europe, but in America, you've kind of nailed it already. In America, if you're walking around wearing something odd, people will just like smile, or they might politely ignore you, or if you're doing something strange, they might ask questions.
You're weird, but I like you.
If I was in America, I'd happily be allowed to push my dog around in a stroller, and that is something that I want to do, but I can't do it here because people will think I'm strange. I might just do it anyway because it seems funny. So like, you can wear a funny outfit, you can dress in Japanese manga every day, or if I wanted to dress in Victorian clothes every day of my life, which actually I think is kind of cool. I'd like to try out wearing a corset, but it would just be too strange here. But if I lived in America, not only could I do that, I'd find a group of people who wanted to do it with me. You could find your tribe because those things exist in America. You embrace weirdness, and I like that about you guys. The next thing that you have in America that I really wish we had more of is basements. You guys have pretty much basements as a standard thing in most houses. Here in Spain, they're fairly non-existent entirely, and in Ireland they are a total rarity. But in America, you have these basements, and they go from everything from spooky to having been redone, and you can decorate them and make them into cool rooms for like your oldest kid or whatever. And I just think that's really cool. Like, you have a whole extra room under your house.
Don't go down there.
In Europe, we mostly just have the foundations of the house. They don't blow down that much though, so that's good, I suppose. But yeah, you get a whole extra room, which is just very cool, and I wish I had that, if not for the extra room for the, oh my god, go down to the basement, it's so dark and spooky. I don't have a room like that in my house, so yeah. The next thing that you guys tend to do that I think is very cool is that you're very good at explaining things to outsiders like me, like explaining foreign things. You're very open and willing to do that. But what I think is exceptionally cool is when you guys explain something that's so common throughout the world, but you guys think maybe we don't have it. I just find that very cute. Okay, I'm trying to think of an example. So one time an American person was telling me that in America you guys have self-serve tills at the checkout, and I was like, yeah, we have those too. But I enjoyed the person explaining it to me, like in a way that, you know, when you're a kid and you're asking your parents to tell you stories over and over about when you were a baby, you just kind of like hearing about things you already know about. But I really admire American people's openness to explain those things to outsiders. Here in Spain, sometimes if there's something I don't understand, I do find people looking at me like I have two heads, and they're not super willing to explain it to me unless I'm overly nice and explain that I'm stupid and I don't know anything. Then they kind of like help, but I do think in America people are much more willing to help outsiders to learn new things about their culture because they're just kind of more open like that. The next thing that you guys have that I think is really cool is you have merch for everything. Like, any TV show that I enjoy has merch. I can go out and buy a Walking Dead hoodie, no problem. That's not difficult to do.
We have merch. Like 10 people bought it, but it exists.
I mean, your presidents have merch. The people running for presidency have merch. And I'm supposing that's so normal to you guys that you don't see it as remarkable, but I cannot imagine our president having a baseball cap or a t-shirt with his face on it. I'm sure it exists, but it's not like a thing. You have merch for the funniest things too, like Pop-Tarts. There's Pop-Tarts merch. You can buy that if you're a big fan of Pop-Tarts, because there's an audience for everything over there pretty much. And I appreciate that about you guys. And the number one thing that you have in America that I really admire is you have businesses that I would make up in my head that actually exist over there. Here, I can only dream of a dog swimming pool. That doesn't exist here unless you have your own private swimming pool, which I don't. But over there are dog swimming pool places that cater purely for dogs. I think in Ireland there is like a place where dogs can rehabilitate, like if they've had an injury they can go in a swimming pool, but I can't just casually go with my dog and a beach ball and go play in it. Like, that's not a thing. But in America, it's very much a thing. You also have like things for niche markets. Like you have stripping places for people who like fat strippers, like that's a thing, and like more power to you. If that's what you're into, there is a place for that. I enjoy and appreciate the weirdness that you embrace in your everyday lives, so go you. That's pretty much it for today's video. Let me know below if there's anything that we have that you might admire from yonder. Bye, I'll see you on the other side. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to scare you when I do that, it just happens. Mwah. So cute, because it's like, it's a cool word. It's a cool word. I don't know. Do you know what am I explaining myself? Okay, no, Diane, you're just too stuttery there. Just calm down, slow down, and explain. You are getting even more snory in every video, and I'm having to like turn you away from the microphone. What's up with that? See? Snory. I've lost my train of thought entirely.